It's a multi-floor elevator that is super compact, super easy to build, super amazing, and you should check it out. Hey everyone, it's Hex here. Today I'm standing in front of a brand new thing I built. It is a multi-floor elevator that uses a bubble column, and it's super compact. It has actually a 3-block minimum distance if you want to, and it's pretty awesome, and it's really compact, easy to build, really easy to build, like genuinely simple to build. It should work on all platforms, but I don't own all platforms, so I didn't test it. But it should work. I don't see why it wouldn't. Anyway, let's get into this thing. Let me show it to you. Okay, let's take a look at this thing. So we've got our ground floor right here. And as you can see, I built the bottom few floors about 4 blocks apart, except for, I should probably put a block right there. There we go. I built them, so basically you have like 3 high ceilings. And I include like the floor as the 4th block, if you take my meaning. Anyways, then we've got one that is multiple blocks apart, and then we've got 2 floors that are 2 blocks apart, and then a very top floor. So let's go ahead and take a ride in the elevator. So the way this thing works is you're going to walk in the bottom right here, and this bubble column is bubbling, and it takes you up to the next floor. Pretty cool. Very cool. We actually don't need this pressure plate right here, but it just keeps it in line. But then if we want to go up to the next floor, what we do is we press this button right here. And we're at the next floor. Pretty cool. If you want to go to the next floor, this is floor D, by the way, and this is sign E. I don't know why I labeled those. Accident. Anyway, press this button and we go up to the next floor. There we go. Press this button, we go up to the next floor. You get the idea. And it's very fast. Very, very fast. So this next one is quite a distance. It's like, what, 10 blocks, I think. So watch how fast I cover 10 blocks. And done. Very, very fast. Yeah. So then we can keep pushing this button, keep pushing the button, keep pushing the button until we're at the floor that you want to be on. And then when you walk out, it resets all of those bubble columns so that when you go down, then you can come back up again and it works just fine. Check this out. So this elevator has one downside. It's this side here. Ha ha ha. Woo! And we have a fish. Oh, it's not a good idea to put a fish in there, apparently. Bye, fishy. Into the void with you. Whoops. I thought it would be funny to put a fish in there, but apparently that's not a good idea. Anyway, the way that it works is that when you're in here, when you're in this bubble column, the bubble column only goes up so far as there are source blocks. So actually right now I am standing on flowing water, on downward flowing water. So this block that I'm looking at right here that's next to this glass block right here is non-flowing water. Inside of this we have a water bucket so that when I press this button it dispenses the water bucket, turning this into a source block, which makes the bubble column go up to the next spot like this. Then when I walk out of here, what happens is every single dispenser below gets triggered by a little tiny redstone mechanism right here that just follows these observers downward, and presto, you have an elevator. It's very cool. Another thing about this elevator that's really nice is it's quick to build, and it should fit in a skyscraper. Like if you were building a skyscraper, this should fit nicely in your base or wherever. Okay, to build this thing, you're going to start things off with a block. You're going to bring this block over several to make your floor, like this. Okay, and then you have to establish, okay, where do I want the elevator to be? Like where is it going to be? So let's say that the elevator is right here. This is the door to our elevator. Oh, and it's suddenly brighter. This is the door to our elevator right here. So then what you're going to do is you're going to come around the back of that door and you're going to place in a piece of soul sand. Thusly. There you go. And then you're just going to continue your elevator up to the next floor. So let's go ahead and get some blocks. Now I'm using glass here just to show you so that you can see through, so you can see what's going on. There's no need to use glass. You can use whatever you want. If you don't use glass, I definitely recommend you put some sort of lighting block in here, like either glowstone or pumpkins, or jack-o'-lanterns or sea lanterns are probably my preference. But if you can't get sea lanterns in your world, then it's fine. But you could just make any of these blocks right here, like a lighting block and repeat the pattern as you're going up. Okay, so then let's say that this is our next floor right here, like that. What you're going to do is you're going to come up here, and on the block that is level with your floor, you're going to place a dispenser. That's not a dispenser, though. We need like an actual dispenser, like a real, like their one. Okay, like that. Like that. A nice dispenser. There you go. And then blocks like this. Like that. And then your next floor. Pretty simple. Okay. Behind this dispenser, what you're going to do is you're going to place a block. Then you're going to place a button on that dispenser. Next to the dispenser, you're going to place a block of choice. I'm using glass. You can see what's going on. And a sign on that. I need a sign. A sign! Give me a sign. You guys, I need a sign. There's a sign. Okay. And you could label your sign. Like, let's say that this is like second floor. So like floor 2 or something. Or dishes and handwear or something like that. I don't know. And then there we go. And then you're just going to continue this upwards. Now, you could put a block right there. What I did is I actually put a half slab right here. Make sure that it's not a waterlogged half slab. Let's see if we can find a half slab of any sort. Preferably quartz. Like this, you're going to put your half slab right there. And then that way, because like the bubble column kind of pushes you up a little bit higher than it needs to. So it'll like push you up. And then you'll like float back down. So as you're up here, if you want to go to the next level, you can press the button quicker. Where if you have just a solid block right here, you have to wait till you sink back down to this level and then press the button. So half slab is recommended, but not necessary. Okay, there we go. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go up another floor. So just like this, up another floor. However far up you want to go. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go the consistent 4 blocks, and then I'll show what to do if it's not consistent. Okay, so you're going to go up to the next floor like this. And let's say this is our top floor for now. So you're just going to place blocks like that and repeat the exact same thing. You're going to put in a dispenser, and then you're going to put in a... well, let's not make this the top floor. Let's not make this the top floor. That's a bad idea. Did I forget a floor? Yeah, I forgot this floor. Let's do this floor real quick. And this floor is 5 blocks tall. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to break that, and then we're going to go ahead and place that dispenser there. And then guess what? Behind here, we're going to place in a block. And guess what we're going to put on that block? A button, like that. And then you're going to take a block there and a sign. Give me a sign. Okay, that joke is old. Hex, don't use it anymore. Thank you. And then you can put your half slab like that. And then, yeah, so let's get rid of this for now. And then on the top, I'll show you what to do if this is the actual top floor, which is that's what we're going to make this. It's super, super simple to build. As long as you put the blocks in the right places. Okay, there we go. So that's it for the upgoing mechanism. The downgoing mechanism, or like to make it so that the you can reset these, what you have to do is you have to break out those 2 blocks on every floor, except for, yeah, you don't have to do this one. So you're going to break them out there and on this one here like that. So the very first floor that you can go up to, you don't actually need the, you don't need to do this because there's nothing below it, if that makes sense. Okay, then what you're going to do is from this point, what you're going to do is you're going to come around just like that. You're going to place 1, 2, 3 blocks. 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if you can handle that. That might be too many blocks, but just kidding. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take yourself some repeaters like this. Repeaters. I'm going to place a repeater right there facing out, and you're going to do that on every level that you're doing this with. So 1 facing out like that. Okay. And then what you're going to do from there is you're going to actually break these, and you're going to put in some pistons. Now you can use regular for this. You can also use sticky pistons here, but the regular ones are just fine, so why waste slime balls? Then what you're going to put on top of each one of those is a gravity block. So I used sand over there. The reason I use sand is because it's clear like what it is. So I'm going to use sand here, but you could use any gravity block. In fact, white concrete, or let's say you're using a concrete color, I would go with the same color as that concrete just for aesthetic purposes. But sand, gravel, anything that's a gravity block will work just fine. Okay, then what you're going to do is put a repeater facing out of each one of these sand blocks like that. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to take your redstone and some observers, and you're going to have a little bit of fun. So you're going to take an observer facing up right there, so that this signal that's going to come out of this is going to go on top of that observer. It's a 1-tick pulse, which makes it so that the observer only fires one time rather than twice. That's the part I'm not 100% sure is going to work on every console. So I don't know like if PS4 and the timing of that, or Java, or, well, I know Java because I'm working in Java, but the, what's the other one? Oh, Bedrock, that's the one I'm thinking of, or Xbox, or the Pocket Edition. I don't know if this will produce a 1-tick pulse, and I don't know if it does, if these observers will only observe a 1-tick and only put out one output. But if they do, then you can do it exactly this way. If not, you might have to find another way to get the observers to fire only one time. Okay, then you're going to put observers facing upward into this one until you get to the one that is next to the dispenser. And then you're going to take a break, and you're going to put a break there, and you're going to put some redstone on that guy's face. Okay, so here's our dispenser that's going to have the water in it, and this is, you need to put a dropper, or sorry, an observer facing up right next to it with a redstone on his face like that. Okay, then you're going to come down, and you're going to do the same thing here, but you're going to skip one so that you can place redstone. So basically where you want the skips in the observer column thingy is you're going to put a skip where there's a dispenser like this, and then where redstone needs to go on the observer's face like this. Okay, those are where the skips are. And then at the very bottom one, you actually do not need the observer. But if you were like continuing this down, then you put one there and then redstone on its face. But you don't need, this doesn't need to be an observer right here on the very bottom one. You can do whatever solid block, it's fine. So we're just going to do a white concrete, not powder. Bye. Like that. Okay. There we go. All right. Then what you're going to do is around the front side on each of your levels, you're going to go ahead and take and put in a pressure plate. So essentially what's going to happen is, actually you don't need a pressure plate here, but I'm just doing it consistently because it holds the water back. So on the bottom two levels, you could just use signs and no pressure plates if you want to. So you would put like maybe a sign there and a sign there like that. And then on the bottom, you could put a sign on both of those, or you could go pressure plate and not sign there. Pressure plate and on the bottom, and then a sign on the top like that. Okay. And then I would probably mark on my sign like what was on this level or the level number, depending on what you want to do. And so then right here, what we need is our pressure plate. Now, so what's going to happen whenever you walk over this pressure plate, it's going to create a redstone signal, like you just saw, that's going to activate this piston. This is called a monostable circuit. So that piston is activated, but immediately it pushes the block out of the way. So it creates a very, very, very short pulse, which is then repeated by this into the observer's face, which will then bring the redstone signal down to this right here, which will activate your dispenser. And then every floor below the floor that you walk out on will have the exact same effect, so that all of those water source blocks that are going to get placed will be removed so that the elevator is reset, and then you can fall to the bottom. So that the elevator is all reset for the next time you want to go up. All right. So one there, and actually, yeah, you do need one on the top here. Okay. The very last thing that you need to do is, well, not the very last. The second to last thing you need to do is fill this whole thing with water. So you're just going to fill it with water. Like this. And however you need to get this done, get it done. Now there is one exception. topmost one, you do not need to fill these two with water. However, it is kind of annoying to have this happen to you. That's not exactly the annoying thing I was talking about, but we'll get there. I don't know why this happened. What's going on here? What has occurred? Oh, you know what? I forgot to put the signs on these levels. Why? Because I'm a genius. I'm a super genius. Super. Okay, there we go. That should be working now. Yay! All right. All right. There we go. Okay. See, does this have? No. So on the top one, as I was saying, is that when you jump in here, and you get to the top of this thing, there we go. You kind of bob and bounce up and down, and that like annoys the living heck out of me. So what I did is I put one water source block on the top here, and then kept this one a non-source. So like that. Okay, and that way, when you go up here, you're not going to bob up and down as much because you're just kind of floating in the water, but you won't like shoot up too far so that you can't get through the door. Okay. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to cover all of these blocks that you broke to put those repeaters in, and then the very last step is to put. Let's see, if your bubble column's going all the way to the top, then you're going to put empty buckets into these. So we need some empty buckets. So one empty bucket in each dispenser, like that. Okay, since we're doing two, you'll do 2 dispensers. Okay, then all you have to do is go in your elevator and test it out. Okay, so we went all the way to the top. And the reason we went all the way to the top is because things happened. There we go. Okay, now it should be working. Okay, so now that has fired, it should have retracted all of the water buckets. Let's just make sure. Yeah. So it's retracted all the water source blocks. So now when you jump in, it's just going to take you up to the next level. You can press the button and go up to the next level, press the button, go up to the next level, press the... Oh, this is the top. Sweet. Okay, it's ready. All right, to build the downside of this thing, all you're going to do is you're going to make a door right there. I just realized that on my example over there, I actually made it too wide. But you can put the downside right next to this right here, and then take your block of choice and make a column for your water. So I'm going to use the glass again, but again, you don't have to use glass. It can be any block you want. Glass. Okay, so we're going to come up this thing with some glass, thusly all the way to the top. And then we're going to go back down the bottom here, place a block there, and I'm going to place a couple of blocks around that because I'm going to show you an optional thing. So I'm going to put my glass there, and then if you surround it with blocks, then I'll show you this optional thing that kind of makes it nice, but it's not necessary. Okay. And then just for each of your levels, you're going to make a little doorway into this downward, the downward portion, the downside. We'll call it the downside. There's an upside and a downside. The other downside to this thing, meaning disadvantage, not side of going up or down, is that you cannot like click a button like, okay, walk in, click a button, and then have it take you to that floor directly. It's more like my other multi-floor elevator that uses the flying machine. Oh, sorry guys, I'm in like flying mode on creative and I like freak out. So where you have to like press the button on every floor, it's more like that. So that's kind of a disadvantage, but it's also an advantage because it makes it a lot smaller. Because if you have it where you press a button and then it takes you directly to that floor, you end up with a really large redstone machine. Okay, last thing, we're going to place a sign right there and then a water source here so that when you fall, you don't break your legs. Because no matter how far you fall from, as long as you fall into the tiniest puddle of water, you live. That only applies to Minecraft though, so please no jumping out of airplanes into small pools of water because then you will like die in real life. just to be clear. Okay, so to do this little optional thing, it's kind of nice to put a water source block right there. Instead of here, put it there. And then when you fall to the bottom, it pushes you out of the elevator. I kind of like that, but it's totally not necessary. Another thing you could do is instead of a, you could put like a stair block there and waterlog the stair block. So if I could find the quartz stair block, there it is, and place it there, then that's a waterlog stair block. Kind of looks better like that. All right, cool. That's it. Let me show you a couple of little things. So if you have a greater distance, then all you have to do is just put in some more observers like this, and then make sure that if you have a dispenser, an observer next to it. To get this like two block high ceiling kind of thing going on, if you want to do 2 block high ceilings, it's a little tricky. What you have to do is modify the output from your monostable circuit here, and then make it so that it does not have a repeater, but rather just redstone straight out of it. The disadvantage of that is that these are going to fire and try to go backwards. It won't do anything, but it's just kind of noisy. If you like trigger this level up here, like let me just kind of, well, it's hard to see it, but if I trigger an upper level, then what's going to happen is this is going to, well, I can just do it like this. See how that one fired? It shouldn't really fire because the signal, the intent of the is for the signal to go downwards from here into all of these other levels, but it will fire these if it goes backwards. It's kind of annoying, but it's not that big of a deal. But this is how you would set it up if it was a 2 block minimum distance. You would have to go like that, and then yeah, that should work. Okay, very cool. If you want a structure download, let me know, and I can put this one in a structure file. It might be too tall for a structure file, so I might be only to get able to get up to here. But yeah. Okay, guys, that's it. Well, guys, this has been Hex. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. And God bless.